Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desatarni Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All right. So thank you everyone for joining the session today, and we will continue from where we stopped last week. But our main focus for today will be Damodar Leela. Okay, Damodar Ashtakam is our main focus because we are in Damodar Kartik month. We will discuss a bit of pastimes from Damodar Leela, and then we will end the class. Okay, and I asked all the children to recite at least, memorize at least 2 slokas, first 2 slokas from Damodar Ashtakam. I sent in the group, which I will ask later. All right, so where we stopped was chapter 4, verse number 39. We are in Transcendental Knowledge, Bhagavad Gita as it is, by Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya ISKCON. And I will share the screen in a second. And if all of you have Bhagavad Gita as it is book, you can open that and go to verse number 40. If you don't have, no problems. I'm sharing the screen, or you can go to vedabase.io. Then you will search Bhagavad Gita and chapter 4 and then verse 40. Okay, so here we are in 40th verse. So what we discussed last week, until last week, was I think we stopped at 38th verse or 39th verse. So if you have any questions, sorry, I have to mute some of you. Please mute yourself if you're if you haven't muted. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand, but you can always ask the questions at the end of the session, so that session is not interrupted. Unless, of course, you have question that something you can't understand any further, then please ask. Okay. All right. So we stopped at this, how jnana is important, the faith is important and everything. So 35 to 38, the verses talks about results and glories of jnana. Jnana, this transcendental knowledge itself means jnana. There are 2 different things, jnana and vijnana. What is jnana? You know, sometimes we call scientists as vijnani, but actually who is vijnani? Vijnani is one who realized and experienced the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge he learned. What is transcendental knowledge? It is not material, that knowledge that is not material, but the knowledge talks about both material and spiritual, and the difference between both spiritual and material, and also the Supreme Lord. For example, the jnana, how do we understand this jnana is, I am not this body, correct? I am not this car. I am not this table or a chair or a furniture. Who am I? I am the spirit soul. I am Jivatma. Okay. I am Jivatma. And this Prakriti, what we see around us, is the material nature. What is the relationship between me and material nature? I am here temporarily for a reason. Everyone has a purpose. Not everyone. All the human beings have the same purpose. What is the purpose of human life? Jivera Swarupahai Krishnera Nityadas. Every one of us has the same purpose, that is to serve the Lord, Supreme Lord, Krishna. That's what this sloka says. Jivera Swarupahoi Krishnera Nityadas. Every Jiva Swarupa is to serve Krishna Nityam. Nitya means always, eternally. That is our purpose of human life. And when we understand that, that is jnana. That is called transcendental knowledge. Okay. And when we understand another important thing, is the connection between you and the Supreme Lord. Okay, there are three things. The relationship between the Jivatma and the Prakriti, the material nature, and the relationship between Jivatma and Paramatma, the Supreme Lord Krishna, and the relationship between material nature and Paramatma. We understand all of that. Then what is the purpose of my life? If we understand all this, this is called transcendental knowledge. Okay, that is what we are studying. When that is that jnana, when it becomes realized, then it becomes vijnana. Okay, when jnana becomes realized, it becomes vijnana. All right. Other thing is, what happens, 35th verse, it says there is no confusion or bewilderment. When you have that transcendental knowledge, you're very clear. See, if you're going from one place to another place, if you want to go travel from Bangalore to Mysore, for example, all right, you know the map, you know how to get there. You have GPS, very good GPS, you have a good vehicle, you know how to get there, and you have a good driver also. Then what is the problem? No problem. You will reach the destination on time. Correct? That is the result of understanding this transcendental knowledge. How you, because you have the knowledge of the map and the destination where you want to go to, and you have a driver, then you will reach the destination without a problem. That jnana, that GPS is jnana, okay, the transcendental knowledge. I'm just comparing. And the driver is guru. We saw in the tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti tenanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. 4.34 in the verse we studied, that how guru is important, how we should approach guru submissively, we should inquire from him, and we should serve him. Pranipatena sevaya. We need to serve him, not just ask questions only, but we need to serve the teacher, guru. So guru is very important. So that guru only will take us to the Supreme Lord, supreme destination. The driver is the guru, and we are the passenger. And what is that map? Is the Shastra. That knowledge is in the map, right? That is the Shastra. So we unless we study Shastras, we can't understand the transcendental knowledge. We don't know what it is. What is the real absolute truth? If you ask someone how to get from point A to point B, from somebody, who will say, oh, you go to this direction, you go that direction. He might not be sure himself. Maybe he might be true or not. We don't know 100%. But if we know from the map, because it is tested, it is experimented, it's the person who tried previously have reached the destination properly, correctly, then you will know, okay, this is definitely true. That is Shastra. Acharyas have experimented it, realized it. That is Vijnani, who have experienced and realized. That is Vijnani. Who only understood the knowledge but not realized it, only know, then that is Jnani. Even if you are Jnani, it's still good enough. That's what Krishna is saying in these verses, 35 to 38. Okay, so it destroys sins, it gives us pure vision, it removes the bewilderment. How it destroys the sin? Because obviously, if you know what is right, what is wrong, you won't commit wrong things, correct? You won't make mistakes. If you know if you touch the fire, it will burn your finger, then you know that. So you won't touch it unless we are very foolish, and we might touch and will burn our fingers, correct? So that is the thing. And what happens due course of time? It is attained of itself from within by mature practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga. So from karma, jnana is culminated. So that is also mentioned by Krishna. Karma means not ordinary karma. So there are different meanings of karma and different contexts. So we need to understand what do they mean, what Krishna means here. That is why we need to read the Bhagavad Gita as it is, not Bhagavad Gita as as if what I think, what is my opinion. That is not Bhagavad Gita. I can give commentary on Bhagavad Gita without understanding, without experiencing. That is not correct. So the real knowledge comes from the disciplic succession. Okay, Guru Parampara. So we need to learn Jnaninas Tattva Darshinaha, who have seen the truth. Okay, that's why we need to approach bona fide Guru. From them we learn jnana. Because we learn, we get all these benefits. And other thing is that we come back to this results and glories of jnana, karma, how karma leads to jnana is not ordinary karma, nishkama karma yoga. What is nishkama karma yoga? Kama means desire. Nishkama means no desire. For what? For the results of the activities. You do one activity, I go to work, I want money. Why I'm going to work? To get money. That is not nishkama karma yoga. That is karma yoga. That is karma only, karma kanda activity. But when I sacrifice, the sacrifice is stressed. The word sacrifice, yajna, is stressed. We have to sacrifice something. The mother sacrificing her time, her energy, her life, everything for the children and the family in the house. Correct? Father is doing exact same thing. Even father does more than what mother does. We might think only mother does all this, but father actually works even harder with a lot of mental agony and things like that. So we must appreciate Guru, Mata, Pita, Guru, Deivam. We must appreciate all these factors. So coming back to this Nishkama Karma Yoga, without expecting any result, what does that mean is, it's not that I go to work and I don't want salary. No, not like that. But we are giving the results to Krishna. Whatever it is, if I get money, of course I use the money for our living, maintenance and everything. But only I'm doing this so that I can serve the Lord nicely, and also I give whatever I needed to give, or I am able to give to the local temple, or even in the home mandir. We have home temple in our own homes, correct? The altar. So we can do something there also, like buying some nice flowers and fruits and whatever we can, and offer to the Lord before accepting it. Otherwise, it is also karma. There is a reaction, karmic reaction. If we don't do that and we do not offer it, then it is karmic reaction will come. Okay. All right. So that's what we discussed. So coming to 39th verse, we'll do this verse. Ajnanascha shradanas Ajnanascha shradadaanascha samshyatma vinashyati nayam lokosti naparo nashukam samshyatmanah. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the text. So, the next verse, the 39th verse talks about who can attain jnana, and the 40th verse talks about who cannot attain jnana. Okay, so the 39th verse talks about who doesn't have faith and who doubt the revealed scriptures. So the three things. One is ignorant and faithless person who doubt the revealed scriptures. You know, some people read Bhagavad Gita, hear about Krishna, hear Bhagavad Gita, hear about the Supreme Lord Bhagavan, go to temple, but they doubt. Will it really work? Yeah, it worked for them, but I'm not sure will it work for me. What is the guarantee it will work for me? As if they think like it's like a doctor. Dr. Kumar doesn't work, they want to go to Dr. Ramesh or something, for example. So they don't have the faith. They think that the God is like doctor only. They just, it works for somebody, you know, my condition it might work, and some condition it might not work. No, Supreme Lord is supreme. He is above everything. He is the controller of everything. Param Sharvakara Karanam. So he is the controller of everything, and he is the knower of everything. Vedesha Sharva Ahameva Vedya. Everything, Vedas, everything comes from him only. Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. All comes from him only. Therefore, there is no doubt, there is no question that whether this God Krishna can protect me. Why can't he protect you? He is the one protecting everybody. He is protecting every single entities. Even if someone is an atheist or a theist, that means if you are worshipping the Lord or not worshipping the Lord, you know how it is like the sun, it shines everywhere. If you want to hide away from the sun, that is our problem. It is not the sun's problem. Sun is giving light to everybody. The rain, it does the same job. Like rain is coming to every place. Wherever it is supposed to rain, it comes to all the places. It doesn't think, oh, this man is a bad man, I'm not going to give rain to this person. No, this is nature. But only humans are very selfish. The nature, Prakriti comes from Krishna. If the nature can protect us like this way, selflessly, why can't Krishna protect us? Even the nature comes from Krishna, correct? But unfortunately, these people are very ignorant, spiritually blind. That is why they are not able to see the truth and they doubt the Shastras. 40. Yoga Sanyasa Karmanam Jnana Sanchina Samsayam Atmamantam na karmani nibannanti dhananjaya. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his action, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reaction of work, O conqueror of riches. So, the verse is, again, here it talks about yeah. So I think 40 and 41, sorry, this is 41st verse, and what we discussed was 40th. Okay. So 39th verse was talking about who can attain jnana, and 40th verse is who cannot attain jnana. Okay, that is what we discussed last verse, and we are coming to 41st verse. So 41st verse is yoga sannyasa karmanam, one who renounces this karma yoga, not karma yoga, sorry, one who renounces the fruitive act. Yoga sannyasa, sannyasa means renunciation, giving up things. Karmanam, okay, karma means activity. Karmana means what comes derived from the karma, that is activities, or I mean the results, fruits of action. Jnana sanchina, sanchina means that is, you know, if you cut the thing, you know, that the fruits of action. So if you want to neglect that, you do activity, but you don't worry about the results. You just leave it to Krishna. Sometimes what happens, you go for a job interview. Sometimes you may get the job or you might not get the job. You shouldn't think, oh, I need to get a job. I need to get a job. So you become anxious and very, fearful. What if I don't get a job? Then the life will not be peaceful. So if you try this way, whatever Krishna says, which is, okay, I have done my interview. Getting a job or not getting a job, it's not up to me. Krishna will decide. I leave everything to Krishna because I have surrendered to Krishna. That's what Krishna says also. Krishna's the entire point is Sarva Dharman Paritirajya Mamegam Saranam Praja Aham Tvam Papibhyo Mokshashyami Ma Suchaha. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, he says that just give up on this motivity. I mean, the mentality of getting this material fruits, from your activity. Give up all those false religion. Paro dharma. What is paro dharma? The supreme dharma. So when you give up on this false dharma, whatever dharma we think it is false. The real dharma is sanatana dharma. The eternal dharma is what? To serve the Lord. As I was saying, Jivera Swarupa Hoi Krishnera Nitidas. In any possible way, we must be thinking how to serve the Lord. Even chanting is serving. Chanting is not only calming our mind, it is serving the Lord also. Okay, so we must understand that by doing this, we can conquer. We can become conqueror of riches. What does that mean is, we are not bound in this material world. Material world is very temporary. Krishna says in chapter 8, Dukkhalayam Ashashvadam. It is temporary only and it's full of miseries, material miseries. So we can go to the spiritual world if we are able to understand this knowledge and give up on this false religion and this false fruits, whatever the so-called fruits of the actions. So the purport, I'm reading this, one who follows the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality of Godhead himself, becomes free from all doubts by the grace of the transcendental knowledge. He as a part and parcel of the Lord, in full Krishna consciousness, is already established in self-knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above bondage to action, that is karma bandhana. So we are removed from that bandhana. Because what happens if you do one activity, even if I yawn, I might kill some bacteria, airborne bacteria. If I drink water, I might kill some waterborne bacteria. I'm not intentionally doing, I'm unintentionally doing. Then think about, so I will get reactions for these activity unintentionally done. Okay, whether intentionally or unintentionally, whether knowingly or unknowingly, whatever I have done, I will have to face the reaction, whether it is good or bad, depending on my activity. If I have done good, I will have to get good results. If I have done bad, I will get bad results. It will not tally up. I think, okay, I have done 2 good and I'll do 1 bad. The good and bad will tally. The net result will be good. No accounting job here. No, that doesn't work like that. You have done 2 good. Okay, you'll get 2 good back. Done 1 good, 1 bad, you'll get 1 bad reaction. So that is how it works. That is law of karma. It doesn't work like, oh, I've done, okay, let me say something. I have killed 1 animal and eaten it nicely. That is killing an animal. Killing a living entity is bad karma, which we learn, correct? Killing any living entity is bad. I told you, like, even waterborne, airborne bacteria, if I killed accidentally just by drinking water or yawning or walking on the floor, I might kill some ants, but they are still children of Krishna. They are all children of Krishna only. Aham bija prabha, aham bija pita. So that is Prabha Abhinvaru. That is, it will come like that. That the verse that talks about how Krishna is saying, I am the seed-giving father of everybody. Okay, so therefore we should understand, if father sees one of his children being killed by other child, then he will not be happy. He has to teach a lesson to the other child who was naughty. This is fact. If you have 3 children in your home or 2 children in your home, 1 children is good and 1 children being naughty, you have to teach the lesson. Otherwise, child will continue to do the bad activities, which will be a trouble and agitate the entire house. The same thing happening in the material world. We are all children of Krishna. If I have killed an animal, or Mamisha means what? That is, I become you. So today I'm killing you. In next life, you kill me. I'm killing you and eating you this life, and you kill me and eat me, or whatever you want to do in next life. So one may say, oh, I take care of my pet animals very nicely. I have fish tank and everything. But on the plate, we eat chicken and meat. What is this? How do we feel if we have our own child, but we wanted to not treat it nicely? We can't even accept that, correct? Then what to speak of the child, the father of the meat? The chicken or goat, whoever, how would the goat's father would feel when the child was killed in front of the father, or even not in front of the father, but still there is affection and love, correct? They are also living entities. They are also spirit, individual souls. They are also part and parcel of Krishna. Okay. All right. So the next verse is the last verse of the chapter 4. Can somebody read this 42nd verse, please, Sloka? Can somebody read this?
तस्मादज्ञान सम्भूतं हृत्स्थं ज्ञानसिनात्मनः चित्वैनं संशयं योगम् आतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Yes, Ashrita. Thanks, Sushma. Yes, Ashrita, you raised your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Can
yes,
I sing?
please. Yes, please.
Yeah. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hridstam gnana sinatmanaha chitvainam samsayam Artist Bharata.
Artist. Okay, very nice. Well done. Good job,
Thank you, ma'am.
Arshita. Good job. So you, whoever is willing to recite the sloka when I ask, please raise your hand immediately. That way I can ask you, yeah. All right. So from this verse, we understand Anyana. So there are three kinds of people. Anyanaha, Srividya. So do you have any question?
No questions. You asked me to recite, right?
Oh, only if you would like to recite.
I have
Yes,
one
Vrunda.
question. Why we celebrate Kartik Day?
Sorry.
Why we celebrate Kartik Day?
We will come to that, baby. We will come to that once we finish this verses. We will come to that. Yeah.
Okay.
And Srividya, I asked to raise hand only if someone wants to chant the sloka when I ask. If they know, I mean, if they are willing to, whether you know how to read or doesn't matter. You don't have to know Sanskrit. The idea is to try to read the Sanskrit verses.
Okay.
It is in English only. And anyone who is willing to read the sloka when I ask, they can raise hand. That's what I said.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, coming back to this verse, three kinds of people, Anyanaha and Ashradadanaha and Samshyatmaha. So three kinds of people. One is Anyanaha is who are ignorant. They don't have knowledge. Jnana means jnani, like knowledge. One who has knowledge, or jnani means one who has the transcendental knowledge. Anyani or Anyanaha means who is ignorant, who have that knowledge, transcendental knowledge. The next one is some Ashradadana. Ashradadana means Shraddha means faith. Ashrada means who doesn't have faith, that person. And then the Samshayataha means who are doubtful. We saw ignorant people are like animals. Why? Because animals also don't know the transcendental knowledge. They don't know what is right and what is wrong. They also do eating, eating, sleeping, and then what else they do? Defending, these type of activities animals do, and humans also do the same thing. That means what? We don't have any difference between animals and us. What we have to do extra is to do devotional activity, to do bhakti. That is the difference. Animals cannot do bhakti. Only humans can do bhakti. But there are special animals who can do bhakti. Fortunately, some animals who stay in the temple, who serve the Lord nicely. There are very fortunate souls. Like there is a elephant Gajendra Purana. There is in Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned about Gajendra, and then Bharata Maharaj comes as deer and serve, hears Bhagavatam from the sages. And then there is a Nirga, there is a lizard who came and got darshan of the Lord and then became Devada, and then went back to spiritual world later. And then what other animals? Anyone remember? Parrot. Sukadev Goswami came as a parrot. Is that the one you're saying, Yudhishthir?
Yes.
But he was not parrot when he came. He came in the human form. But yes, he was parrot in the spiritual world. Sukha, Radharani's parrot, it is said like that. And so many characters that we see in Bhagavata Purana, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, that animals can also do bhakti in animal body. In animal body, the spirit soul always same size. The tip of the hair, when you take, if you cut it by 10,000 times, if you take a tip of the hair and cut it by 10,000 times, how small it would be. You can't even see. That's how tiny the soul is, individual soul, whether it is in the ant's body or a Brahma's body or a dinosaur body or human body. Any body, the soul is the same size. That's why Krishna is always equal to everybody. And other thing is, the Only people do not have trust or a faith in Krishna. That is unfortunate. Okay. And this verse is talking about Krishna is saying, cut all the doubts with the knowledge, with the weapon of knowledge, Arjuna, and then fight, because that's the idea of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was telling, I don't want to fight, I don't want to kill my relatives, and I don't want the kingdom. But Krishna is saying, no, you are a Kshatriya. For a Kshatriya, your duty is to fight. And you please understand this transcendental knowledge and what is important and what is best yoga, which is Bhakti Yoga, which Krishna will tell Yoginam api sarvesham. So Krishna will tell in chapter 6 that what is important is doing bhakti. Whatever you do that as a offering to me. Then everything will be fine. Even though you're fighting, you're killing people, that is bad as per Dharma Shastra. But as per Artha Shastra, what you are going to do is correct, because they are sinners. They are bad people. You must kill them. Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya duskrudam. So Krishna comes himself sometimes to kill people. Sometimes he sends representative to kill people. What kind of people? Bad people. And why? So that, how you remove the weeds from the farming, from the farming land, you have to remove the weeds, bad plants. Otherwise, what happened? It will take all the energy. It will suck all the energy, good energy, nutrition from the earth, from the soil. So the good plants won't get anything. Then all you get is bad apple, bad bananas, like that on. Therefore, you have to remove the weeds like that. That's why Bhagavad Gita, it was spoken in the middle of the Kurukshetra war battlefield, and it happened in Kurukshetra, which is also called Dharmakshetra. That's why we see in the first verse, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveda Yutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvada Sanjaya. So what happened in the place of holy place, that is Kurukshetra? So Dhritarashtra is asking, correct? That we studied in chapter 1. Therefore, Krishna is suggesting Arjuna that you must fight. Even though we are in this material world, we also sometimes don't know what is right, what is wrong. Sometimes we also don't want to either go to school, we don't want to go to office, we don't want to do this, do that. But what is our duty? If we are in this body, we have our duty. If I am a mother, I have to do motherly duties. If I'm a child or daughter, I have to do what is the duty of a daughter to the family. So we have to do all those duties, but still surrender to Krishna and do that as an offering to Krishna. Okay. So this is what Krishna is saying. Okay, you give up on your the mentality, the attitude that okay, you want fruits of the action. No, you do your karma yoga, which is doing your activity as an offering to me and leaving the results to me. That is karma sannyasa yoga. That is what Krishna is suggesting. But Arjuna misunderstands. From the next chapter, we will know that Arjuna misunderstands that what Krishna was saying. He thought, oh, are you asking me to do sannyasa? Are you asking me to give up everything? But Krishna was saying not sannyasa. He's saying karma sannyasa yoga. That is giving up on the fruitive results, not giving up on the work itself or the results itself. The results means material results we shouldn't expect. Okay, that is the idea. So this is what we discussed so far, chapter 4, transcendental knowledge. So Krishna started talking about how he gave this Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. And then it started disciplic succession, Iskavaku, Manu and everything. And then it stopped somewhere. So Krishna has to speak Bhagavad Gita again because people forgot. Over the period of time, totally forgot. Millions and millions of years ago, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to sun god. Because the disciplic section was broken, Krishna has to re-speak the Bhagavad Gita. Now he chose Arjuna, not Duryodhana, because the Duryodhana was not a good guy. He was very selfish and he was not a devotee and not friendly. But Arjuna was soft-hearted, very submissive. These are the qualities to receive transcendental knowledge, and a devotee and submissive. So Krishna chose Arjuna. Okay. All right. So, and then we saw about how sacrifice, different kinds of yagyas we saw. And then these three kinds of people, Ajnanaha, some Ashrada, Ashrada, Danaha, and then some Samshayatmaha. So these kind of people we discussed. So you shouldn't be ignorant or faithless or doubtful. Even ignorant and faithless, okay, but doubtful is very bad only. So they don't have better life in this lifetime or next lifetime. That's what Krishna himself saying. So what we should do is have the faith. How do we develop faith? We need to hear more about the Lord. So if you want to buy a product, what do? You do research. Oh, this is good. So if you want to buy a laptop, you just don't go and buy any laptop. You will do a lot of research, right? So you'll ask people who are very technical, who has knowledge about computer, and you will try to operate the laptop before purchasing to see how it feels like, looks like, and what is the capacity. Everything you will see, and how I can use this, right? Before buying any product, you will do a lot of research. Why? To make sure it's very good. Similarly, you will have to hear about the Lord before you just go and do bhakti. Means you don't have to do that. You just need to first have a faith that yes, there is Supreme Lord. Brahma says in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Radhi Govinda Sharva Karana Karanam. So Krishna says like that nicely, correct? I mean, Brahma says that to Krishna. Krishna is Parameshwara. He is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is that Govinda. Brahma himself says, and Lord Shiva also says in Padma Purana. Then what else we need? And Arjuna, he says, Parabrahma, Parandama, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam. From these factors, we understand Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and have that little faith from there and hear more about the Lord. Then we understand. You hear from the Lord himself, that is Bhagavad Gita, and you hear about the Lord, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. All right. I'll stop here. Any questions? And then we move to Damodar Leela. Any questions, anybody so far?
Ma'am?
Yes.
Mataji, why we celebrate Kartik Day?
Yes, we are coming to that now. That is exactly what we are going to do now. Okay. Good question, Vranda. Very good. All right. So I stop the sharing. All right. So if no questions, I will move to Damodar Leela. Okay. So Kartik month is very special. Okay. So this Kartik month is celebrated for so many reasons. Main reason is Krishna. And there are so many months in Vedic calendar, like Damodar month, Govinda Mas, and Madhava Mas, like that. There are like how we have Chaitra, Margasi, like that in calendar, and in India, Tamil Nadu, different places we call in different names, but the idea is the same. This month is what it is. So in Kartik month, what happened? It was a Deepavali day. We call Diwali and we call Deepavali, all same thing. Deepa, and your Vali means you are worshipping the Deepam to the Lord. That is Deepavali. So Deepavali, on the Deepavali day, this Damodar Leela happened. So Krishna was a little baby, and Mother Yashoda was churning butter, churning the yogurt to get butter from it. And Krishna, as usual, he is so naughty, right? And he always goes and steals butter, and he enjoys stealing. And all the gopis come and complain to Srimati Yashoda Rani, look, what is your son doing? Why is he stealing from our butter pots? We are hanging it from the ceiling, but still he somehow reaches it. And not only that, he feeds the monkey. Even that also we can accept, but what is that something we can't accept is now he feeds the monkey, and if we go and ask him, you eat the butter, that is all right, why are you feeding the monkeys? Then he says, what is your butter? What is very special about your butter? He, this monkey, even monkey doesn't like your butter. I tasted, I didn't like it, so I'm feeding monkey, even they don't like them. That is it. What is it, Ashrita? What is the question you have? Ashrita, did you have a question?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I got. All right. So no problem. Any questions? You can raise your hands, anybody, and or put it in the chat box, and then we can come to that later. Okay. Let's keep going. This one day, what happened? Diwali day. This Mother Yashoda was doing this, and Krishna was sleeping in the bed, on the bed. And then he woke up. He's a baby, right? When he wakes up, he comes to mummy. That's what we all did, right? When we were small, we go, but sometimes we still like to do that. When we wake up, we want to go see mummy. Mummy, like that. See, Krishna went, and Mother Yashoda was churning butter, and she was, singing Kirtana about Krishna. Her bangles were making nice Kirtana sound, and she was thinking of Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. See, that is what we should learn from Mother Yashoda. She was churning butter, and she was singing about Krishna. This is exactly what we can follow in her footsteps, right? We can cook, we can do some drawing, we can do some coloring, we can sing about Krishna, we can hear about Krishna. And mothers, mommy, in our home, mothers can cook, and they can think about Krishna while cooking and offer that food to Krishna. It becomes prasadam. Without, if we eat any food without offering to the Lord, it is sin. It is called sin. That is what Krishna says. I'm not saying. Krishna says in chapter 3, about 20 verses 23 or something like that. Therefore, we must always accept prasadam only. And we can't offer anything to Krishna. We should offer only what Krishna suggests. That is in chapter 9, verse 26, he's saying Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Okay. So when Krishna was, approaching the Mother Yashoda asked Krishna, please come, Krishna, come. What is it? Did you sleep well? And Mother Yashoda, Krishna was saying, I want milk. I'm hungry. The babies, that's what they do, right? As soon as they wake up, they are hungry. Well, all they do is sleep, eat, go to toilet, and then come back, sleep again, and then eat again. That's what they do, the children. Even sometimes adults, that's what the adults also do most of the time. Except they have one little work, they have to do some work also. But the children, they don't have any work, right? So all they do is nicely eat and sleep and, play. So Krishna came and asked for milk, and Mother Yashoda started feeding milk to Krishna, and Krishna was full. No, Krishna was not full. But Mother Yashoda remembered that milk that she put in the kitchen for boiling, that is for Krishna only. She was going to make sweets, Krishna sweets. In India, in Tamil Nadu, there is a famous Indian sweet store, Krishna Sweets, and it's so sweet. Mysore Pak they make. I don't know if you have other parts of India they sell, but in South India, Tamil Nadu, they sell this very popular. I used to eat that. I used to love that so much. That's Krishna Sweets. But coming back here, Mother Yashoda makes even better sweets than that's Krishna Sweets. And she was making that from Padmakanda cow. She has 100,000 cows. She picked only 3 cows, the best of all. And from that 3, she picked 1, that is Padmakanda cow, and then that gives so thick, rich milk, very nutritious. And she was using that milk. She doesn't want to get that milk spoiled, burnt or anything. So she quickly put Krishna away from her lap, and she went to kitchen to check what happened to the boiling milk, and it was over boiling. So Krishna became angry, and he started to, smash the butter pots and break the butter pots, and started to eat the butter, take some butter with him, and went outside and started to feed Krishna's monkeys, friend monkeys. And it is said these monkeys are not ordinary monkeys. They are from Rama Leela. They are from, monkey army. They are, a few monkeys are from they are devotees of the Lord. They are eternal devotees. Wherever Krishna goes in different Leelas, they go as eternal associates with them. Like that, these monkeys also went with Krishna. And this monkey started to eat all these butter, and Krishna was feeding these monkeys, and all were enjoying, and Mother Yashoda was coming behind. So Krishna was looking at one of the monkey's eyes. From the eyeball, the Krishna can see Mother Yashoda is coming behind. Quickly, he was actually sitting on the top of the upside down mortar, the mortar and pestle. So it was the wooden mortar. He was sitting on that. And when Mother Yashoda came, he jumped off and ran. He went to the streets. When he goes to the street, the Mother Vedic culture, they don't come to the streets, right? They don't like to go on the streets and running around behind the child. That's what Krishna thought. Mother will not come and chase me anymore because I am on the streets now. But Krishna, Mother Yashoda is clever. She is mother of Krishna, right? She thought, you are little monkey. I'm not letting you go. Let me come. And she started chasing. Even on the streets, she started chasing. And her flowers were falling off, jasmine flowers. She was getting tired. She was gasping for breath. And Krishna was running and running. Finally, she caught hold of Krishna. And Krishna was like, oh, mommy, oh no, she's gonna beat me. And she had a big long stick. Sometimes kids do naughty things. That's what we try to do, right? To chastise the child. We take a big stick and we say, if you do this again, I'll smack you. The child, Krishna was so afraid of Mother. See, Krishna is not afraid of anything. Krishna is Parameshwara. Just now we studied from chapter 4. He is Sarva Karana Karanam, Govinda, Parameshwara. All that we studied. Now that Krishna standing in front of Mother Yashoda as if he is child of that mother, that is Krishna. If we give love to Krishna in any Vachalya Bhava, Madhurya Bhava, or Shakya Bhava, anything like a friendly way, or a motherly affection, or a loving affection, or a servant affection, whatever the mood you have, Krishna will accept that as it is. He will not change it, alter it. He will accept it. Krishna served as a Parthasarathi to Arjuna. He became Arjuna's servant. And in Vamana Dev Leela, he became a beggar himself and went and asked for 3 places of land from Bali Maharaj. So Krishna can go to any level down to satisfy his devotees, to show his affection. He doesn't mind. If it is us, what we say, no, I don't want to act like a beggar. I don't want to act like a driver. Who am I? I am big boss. I don't want to be cheap. I don't want to behave cheaply. But Krishna doesn't mind. That is Krishna. Because it is love. That is what Krishna is after, our love. He doesn't mind to become a beggar or a chariot driver for Arjuna or anything. So Krishna was, he became child himself in that Leela. That is covered by Yoga Maya. There is 2 things, Mahamaya and Yoga Maya. That is also 2 energies of Krishna, internal and external energy. And according to Krishna's willingness only, these energies are acting. No blade of grass will act against Krishna. And this Mother Yashoda was ready to smack Vallabha. I mean, ready to smack. Vallabha is my son, by the way. I always get his name. Whenever I tell stories, I get Vallabha's name. So ready to smack Krishna. Even I am ready to smack Vallabha. He has been naughty as well. He's no better than Krishna, right? So Krishna was like crying with his little black, broad eyes, beautiful eyes. He started to crying. His eyelashes, the mascara started to, fade away. Started to dripping off the cheeks. Beautiful cheeks. And Mother Yashoda looking and, oh my God, my child is getting so afraid. I don't want to make him fearful. I am his mother. I don't look like a demon, am I? No, don't cry. It's okay. I'm not going to beat you. I know you did a lot of naughty stuff. I have to go clean the house. Now you are here. What I'm going to do, best thing is I'm going to tie you with a rope. At least you just be quiet here. She took a rope and she tried to tie him with in the mortar, the same mortar. And this dam, the rope, dam means rope, trying to tie around the udaram. Udaram means the belly of Krishna. That is why he is called Damodara. So this she's trying to tie him with the rope, but it's not working. She asked the gopis, "Oh Gopi, come bring some more ropes. See, this is not working." They're bringing ropes more and more and more. No, it's not working and working. It's 2 finger too short every time. Krishna is tricking, right? He is what? Parameshwara. How can he be controlled by the rope, by this cowherd lady? How can it be possible? No. She tried for a long time and then now she gave up. Okay, now I'm done. I'm not able to do it anymore. I'm leaving. Then Krishna give in. That is Krishna. This is what Krishna is expecting from us. He wants us to continue with our loving affection. Not that, okay, Krishna, I love you today, but tomorrow can you give me that what I wanted? Krishna didn't give. 1 week we kept asking, he didn't give. Then 7th day, what we say, oh, okay, you don't want to give. Okay, I'll stop my devotion because you're not interested in giving me. I'll stop. No, this is not what Krishna wanted. We should keep trying with the love. The perseverance is important. The love, the endeavor. That is what Krishna is asking. The love and affection. He is Kodana Kodi. Ishwaris, Lakshmi Devis are serving him. He doesn't want us to serve him. He doesn't want money. The money comes from him. The Lakshmis are sitting at the lotus feet of Krishna, the Vishnu, Narayana, and serving them. Lakshmis are the personified, money personified. Why he has to get money from us or fruits from us, flowers from us? There is a Karpa Vriksha tree, the desire fulfilling tree. That is from him only. So even if he wants this anything with the snap of a second finger, he can get it. He doesn't need anyone to give or serve, but he wants us that love. He wants us to give, offer that little fruit or water or like leaf or anything, that patram or pushpam or phalam or toyam to him with that love and devotion. That's what he's expecting, that little love and affection. So this Krishna gave in. So Mother Yashoda now, Krishna said, okay, so he put his belly up like this in front and said, okay, now you try now. Mother Yashoda, really sure? Okay, I have been trying for hours and hours. Already it's getting dark. I have to go back home and clean the house. It's still messy. The messy, you made that monkey boy, you made that mess. I have to clean it. But that's all right. I'll try now. Then she tried. Now it worked. And Krishna was tied with the rope. That was the love rope. It was done. Mother Yashoda was surprised. Oh, well, it's worked. So let me go back home and clean the house. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. So I was telling this in yesterday's Tamil class also, that in India, my Anna, my cousin, they tie him also. When he was a baby, he can't go anywhere. He shouldn't go anywhere, right? So my auntie, used to tie his belly with the rope so he doesn't go. And also I have seen neighbor babies also. They tie with the nearby pole. The mother would be washing the clothes. So the baby would be tied with the rope and next to the pole, and the baby would be there only. It just would crawl here and there. It won't go any far. So it would be safe and sound there. And the rope also on the belly will be very loose. It won't be too tight or hurting to the children. This was coming from Vedic culture, so it's not wrong. That's how they took care of that many children. Otherwise, now it's only one child at home, maximum 1 or 2, not many. But those days, many children, even 1 or 2 also, they do this as it's a normal thing those days. But these days, the police will catch us and put us in jail if we do all these things. Why are you treating the child like an animal like that? They say, but they themselves don't treat animals nicely or humans nicely. But that's okay. That's different topic. Now Krishna, Mother Yashoda gone back inside home and cleaning the house. Now Krishna is crawling, and he found twin trees, Arjuna trees, they say. From Bhagavad Purana, it's in the Canto 10, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Yudhishthira, you have you're one of the 4 children. Very nice. Wow, you're lucky. The house full. That's so nice. So what happened? This Krishna was crawling towards the trees, and the trees were nicely shaking as if they are very happy to see Krishna. It is true, because they are actually demigods, devas from spiritual world. Not spiritual world, heavenly planet, sorry. You've seen the story already. Very nice, Ashrita. So sorry, and this Arjuna trees actually are Manigruva and Nalakuvera. Most of you know already the story. Almost all of you should know because every year I tell the story. So cutting short, time is also up. We might go a little over the time. Please don't mind. So that trees, he was going inside with the mortar. He was crawling and he was hitting the tree and going in between the tree. So the two trees fell down. Two celestial beings came out. They offered nice prayers. And Papa Vimokshana happened now. Papa Vimokshana means they were relieved from their sins. Yes, the sons of Kuvera. So what happened? This is a back story there. There is a flashback there. So in previous life, they were actually Manigruva and Nalakuvera from heavenly planets. They were sons of Kuvera. One time they were taking bath in the river of the garden river of Lord Shiva. And that time they were not wearing any clothes. See, it is said water is also a goddess. It's like a Ganga. So we should actually wear some cloth, at least little cloth when we are in the river or water. It is wrong to be without clothes, without like naked. We shouldn't be naked in the water because it's like a goddess. Like in front of our mother, we should not be naked, right? Like that. But as a child, okay. But as we grow up, it's not okay. And Narada Muni was passing by that place, and he saw naked Manikuvera and Nalakuvera. They were intoxicated also. See, that is the problem. If you are rich, if you are famous, popular, if you are beautiful, these are intoxications. Okay, you don't have to separately take any bad liquor. If you are beautiful, if you are famous, if you are, this is said by Kunti Maharani in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shruti Smriti, and high birth. What are the four things? High birth, beauty, jnana, and then popularity, I think. If these four factors are there, we will automatically be intoxicated. We think, oh, we are great, and then we don't respect others, and then we'll fall down. That's what happened to Manikuva and Nalakuvera. Because they were thinking, who can control us, who can stop us? So they were drinking a lot of liquor, like bad drink, and they were gone mad, and they were naked, and they were playing with other girls. And girls, once they saw Narada Muni, they hid themselves and they covered themselves, tried to cover themselves near the bushes. But these boys did not do it. Narada Muni cursed them. But this is curse in a disguise of blessing. So, blessings in disguise, I think. So that's what I should say in other terms. So that means he cursed them that may you become trees, because only trees will be naked. So that's what Prabhupada also says in his purpose, that if someone behaves in this manner, not wearing clothes fully or properly, they will become trees next life, because they are not caring about their body, covering their body as a culture or civilized. Then they'll become trees, because that's what they do, right? That's why whatever we do, that's what we will have or will become in the next life. That's why we have to do bhakti, so that we can go to Krishna Loka. So boys, then they came to senses, and then they apologized to Narada Muni and saying, sorry, this happened, I'm sorry. Narada Muni said, all right, then you become trees, but in Krishna's garden. And when he comes in Dwapara Yuga, you stay there for many thousands of years, and when he comes in Dwapara Yuga in human form, he will give you moksham. The same thing happened. Krishna came and gave moksha. They offered prayers, and then Krishna said, okay, you go back to your heavenly planets and do bhakti nicely, and then once after this lifetime, you will go back to spiritual world. So they were very happy and they left. See, it's not easy. Even for Devi Devadas in heavenly planets, they can't directly go to spiritual world. They still have to do bhakti. Lord Indra or Varuna or Surya or Chandra or Brahma, they all have to do bhakti if they want to go to spiritual world. Then what to speak of us? So it's very good we are in Bhuloka, so we can nicely learn lot of lessons, because material world gives lot of problems. So we learn from them. That way we can do more bhakti. Otherwise, what happens? We will face more problems. So that's why. So then only Nanda Maharaj later came and he untied. This is what Acharyas nicely say, that Maya is our like mother, the material nature, always tie us with the rope of this material miseries, tie us like make us trapped in this material world. So we have to sincerely pray to Krishna. When we do that, what happens? Father, that is Krishna, will come and untie. How Mother Yashoda tied Krishna with the rope, but that is love. But I'm just telling what acharyas like how they compare. And Father Nanda Maharaj came and untied the rope from Krishna's belly. So that is why we also pray. We also do that by praying to Krishna to untie our material, the rope, which is tying our life here. So yeah, so that is, see, not only this Leela happened, this is in Baumi Vrindavan, this happened, but in Golaka Vrindavan, the Damodar Leela happened little differently. I tell you in a very short minute. So Radha one time asked Krishna to come and meet at one place. So say for example, she asked, okay, come and meet me at 4 o'clock. What Krishna did, he went at 6 o'clock. So he went 2 hours late. Like we do that as well, right? We start the class at 6 o'clock. Some people start late, but this class is okay. But Tamil class is very bad. Some people don't come only. So this Krishna went to see Radharani 2 hours late. Like IST, Indian Standard Time, usually people go late 1 hour. This is GST, Golaka Standard Time. He went 2 hours late. And Radharani became angry and said, okay, you should not do this again. For that, I'm going to punish you. So she removed a belt, golden belt from her hip and tied Krishna with the rope. That is also Damodar. Dam means rope and Udar means belly. Radharani tied. That is the actual thing happened in Golaka Vrindavan. But Krishna in Dwapara Yuga little bit twisted it and put it as Yashoda Damodar Leela, not Radha Damodar Leela, because Radha Damodar Leela is very confidential. Okay, keep this secret. Don't tell anybody. Okay. So acharyas don't say this type of Radha pastimes very openly because it's very secret. Their love is very, very advanced, so we can't understand their love. That's why. And because of these special reason, Krishna was so happy how Radha and Krishna, I mean Radha and Mother Yashoda bound or bind Krishna with their love, with the love of the rope. Krishna was so touched and controlled by that love. He is uncontrollable, but he is controlled by that love. Therefore, he is so happy in this month. That is why we offer lamp to Krishna to show that we also want to bind you with our love, Krishna. Please accept our love. Please take our love and take us back home, back to God, like that. Not only this Kartik month, this Radha Damodar Leela happened and Yashoda Damodar Leela happened. There are so many things. Krishna killed Bhaumasura. Lord Shiva killed Tripura Asuras. And Rama Ayodhya, he came back to Ayodhya. Ambrish Maharaj pastime occurred in this Kartik month. And then what else? Tulasi Maharani appeared from churning of this Mandara mountain, and Lakshmi Devi came in the Kartik month, and the Tulasi and Vishnu married in this Kartik month, Tulasi Vivaha. Like that, so many nice leelas happened, pastimes happened in this Kartik month only. Okay. And therefore, this is very special month, and I was born in Kartik month also. That is more special. No, not really. Only Krishna is special. So therefore, we should celebrate this Kartik month nicely by offering lamp morning and evening, by praying, offering with this lamp love and devotion, and singing Damodarashtakam Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam. That one. When we do that, Krishna becomes so happy. Skanda Purana, Padma Purana, all these Puranas says that if we do that, Krishna becomes so happy, he gives whatever you want more than what you need. and millions of sins we have done in previous lives, millions of lives we have done, whatever sins, papa, that will all be removed, which is great, right? It's like a great deal. So please, all of you, do this morning and evening, even if you can't do 2 times a day, at least 1 time offering with a candle or a ghee lamp or a sesame oil lamp, any of this, please offer with Tulasi Rani, a Tulasi leaf on the lotus feet of Krishna and little water and some fruits and flowers. That would be so lovely if you do that. And ask your friends and family to come to your house and offer. So it's like a multi-marketing, right? Multi-marketing business. If you bring more people to offer lamp, then they become pure, right? Because of you, because you only introduce them to Krishna's this lamp offering, then you get benefit, you get more bonus from Krishna, you get more gifts from Krishna. Okay, so do that, try that. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Yudhishthir, what is the reaction? What does it mean? Huh?
I don't know.
Okay. Yes, now everyone ready with 2 slokas? I'll start with Ashrita, but everyone is ready? Okay, Ashrita, please go ahead with first 2 slokas. And what I'll do, I'll stop the recording now.
Mataji,